U.S. President Donald Trump took time out of his busy day to issue a pardon, to issue a directive to free someone of what he deems as injustice and wrongfully charged. And no, it's not Julian Assange. It's not Chelsea Manning. It's not even Michael Flynn that Donald Trump offered a pardon to. He gave a pardon to a man who already did his jail time. And as political commentator Michael Tracy puts it, quote, Trump's pardons are like a rogue gallery of the nation's least deserving felons. There's a lot to discuss here because this pardon was given to Bilderberg steering committee member, and what people are calling now a former globalist that has allegedly changed his way, Conrad Black. Now, there's a lot to discuss in this story. This man was a media mogul, and Donald Trump issued him a full pardon with charges that he was convicted of in 2007 based off fraud and obstruction of justice charges, which Conrad already spent 3.5 years in jail for. He's out. He was a totally free man. He wasn't let go of jail, let out of jail. He was just with the paperwork officially, quote, released. But Conrad Black said that Trump personally called him and granted him this full pardon because he thought that this pardon was, quote, unjust and that he should have never been charged. Going on to saying the idea that I would commit a crime is nonsense. This is, of course, what Conrad Black told the BBC. But again, this was a very powerful individual. In 2013, the U.S. Security and Exchange Commissions banned Conrad Black from acting as a director of U.S. companies. They even ordered him to pay $4.1 million in restitutions. Canada's own Securities Commission ruled in 2015 that Conrad Black could no longer hold any executive positions listed in companies as investment funds. And of course, the main accusation against him was that in 2007, he was, quote, scheming to siphon off millions of dollars from the sale of newspapers owned by Hollinger, where he was chief executive and chairman of. Now, Conrad Black even wrote in the National Post his own letter describing the phone call he had with Donald Trump. And Jason, if you put up this National Post article, he actually says here, quote, talking about Donald Trump calling each other, Donald Trump calling him, we've known each other for a long time. The president told me, but that wasn't any part of the reason, nor has any of the supportive things you've said that and written about me. I suggested that he knew better than anyone the antics of some U.S. prosecutors. And then he says personally, quote, I had Robert Mueller as director of the FBI, which we caught installing illegal bugging devices in our homes in New York and in many falsehoods. James Comey as Deputy Attorney General and Patrick Fitzgerald, now Comey's counsel, as U.S. Attorney in Chicago. They were all, as my distinguished caller on Monday has described, Comey bad cops. So, Jason, I wanted to kind of bring you in here. What do you think? Do you think this is kind of retribution against Robert Mueller here, or do you think that this is connected through business or some other motives here? What are the motives that we should lay out here, Jason?
Well, first of all, Luke, former globalist Mytukis. Give me a break. This guy is a Bilderberg steering committee member. When we see his personal letter in the National Post, let me tell you something. He started the National Post. This guy
Former
literally.
member, right?
What's that?
Former
Well,
member.
I mean, again, I think that he was gone. I said for 20 years. He was gone after the jail time. I'm not sure if he's been to a meeting since, but he's open about it. He just says nothing goes on there. He gives the rather establishment talking point that, oh, the meeting's no big deal. There's nothing interesting going on. That's why I was a steering committee member for 20 years. Anyway, when you look at this guy, let's do some background. It's not just the National Post, the Daily Telegraph, one of the biggest in his arsenal, the Jerusalem Post, the Chicago Sun-Times. He had the third largest publishing house under him with over 500 plus publications. Now, it does seem like he must have gotten himself in some kind of trouble while he was trying to get rid of these things because there became a hostile takeover on the board. He actually remained in the business while a lot of this litigation was going on. Another really peculiar thing, Luke, that I didn't know about this guy, and you look at this timeline here from back in the day, is that he actually renounced his Canadian citizenship, and then he became a lord over in Britain. Isn't that, he's a lord? Yeah, I'm sure he's really anti-establishment. So what is all this about, right? Let's talk about it. First of all, he's out of jail, but he can't hold any executive positions on any traded company. So if it's traded on Wall Street, guess what? This guy is out of the mix. Now, I'm sure he still feels spry in his mid-70s and wants to get back into these businesses. Or possibly he's looking for an administration position or maybe to run some Trump businesses. Look, he was absolutely his ally just last year. Tomorrow's News Today was pushing him as a former globalist and saying, because he was talking about Trump draining the swamp and how great he was for the economy and how, he told some half-truths there. He did, Luke. We watched it together in that quote. But he was blaming it on incompetence. It's not incompetence. Listen, this has been run this way for a reason. It's to get those results.
And most importantly, the reason why people are calling him a former kind of globalist is because he's supporting Trump. Well, guess what? A bunch of globalists support Donald Trump. There's a support wing of Donald Trump supporters at Bilderberg. There's no denying that. The close counsel of Trump attends Bilderberg, the globalist confab here, that really needs to be talked about. But one of the comments that people are taking to attribute to being a former globalist, again, these are all just interpretations by other alternative media, is that he said that Trump is winning a bloodless civil war. Just trying to, surprise here, just trying to trigger lefties is not anti-globalist. You're playing into the divide and conquer agenda that these same news organizations were warning about for years and now just completely forgot. And they're reading mainline establishment, right-wing Fox News talking points, pro-war neocon talking points saying Iran's bad now. No, come on now. Again, people need to understand here. He's very, very favorable of Donald Trump. He made very favorable comments of Donald Trump, but face the reality here, face the music here. Donald Trump is beating the drums for war. He filled the swamp with the worst swamp monsters that you could imagine. There is a globalist, corporatist angle of Trump supporters that are getting their way, and that does need to be attributed here. So people need to wake up to that reality and stop trying to divide and conquer people to try to put them in gangs so we could all fight each other instead of seeing the true kind of power elite. Now, it could be an argument made here that he was definitely kicked out of the power elite with the jail time, with him being kicked out, with him not being able to be in the business world. Whether this will allow him to be there now because of this partner or not, we will see. But again, to me, I can't make any definitive claims here, but Bilderberg is really a fascinating group. There's pro-Trump people, there's anti-Trump people, but what kind of bonds these individuals together is that they're very influential and they're getting their way, and of course they're colluding together for their personal benefit. And I would say in my opinion, they're kind of laughing at all people just fighting each other on absolute nonsense. We actually had Leah Stewie. How do you say her name? We say her name differently.
I believe it's Lee Stewie. I mean, I've met her probably less times than you, but she was
I'm
awesome.
horrible with names, you know this, but she actually reached out to Bilderberg, and do you want to read off the letter that Bilderberg sent her? Because she actually is trying to investigate when Bilderberg is happening, because there seems to be more secrecy surrounding this year than any other year that I've seen.
Yeah, so let's pull it up. That's a few days notifications, but basically it says she asked when it was going to be, and she got the response, "We're not going to tell you until a few days before." So let me find her.
Well, she said, thank you for, Bilderberg officially responded to her saying, "Thank you for your email and query. As ever, we will confirm details of this year's Bilderberg meeting in the run-up to the annual meeting. We will publish the location, agenda topics, and full list of participants a few days before. In the meantime, we kindly ask for your patience and understanding. Best regards, the Bilderberg media team." I find it hilarious that they have a media team now. Again, don't do interviews, don't do any press. A lot of times, the information that they put out there has been contradicted so many times with, again, journalists out there filming, which, by the way, we're going to be doing like we do every year, no matter how short they do this. But they do this allegedly for security, and again, they have the biggest insane security installations, G20 level security at these places, intelligence agencies, local, state, federal, national police forces coming in to protect these individuals, without a mention from usually the mainstream media. Predominantly, the mainstream media totally ignores it, and journalists like myself and other people, like Lee, Lee also, I believe, covered a couple of Bilderbergs herself. Yeah, we get harassed, we get intimidated. I got arrested once and told that I had drugs on me somehow, which I didn't. Clearly had a video showing that. But yeah, they framed me with drugs because I tried to figure out what was going on at this meeting. And I tried to get a comment, which is absolutely insane, Jason. And we're just a few days away. People need to understand, we're just a few days away from this instrumental, very important meeting from actually happening.
And I want to point out, we always talk about the media being inside Bilderberg. Yeah, it's called Conrad Black. Conrad Black, while he was the steering committee member, owned 500 plus publications. He was the third largest publisher of information in the world. Mr. Let's push the Iraq war. Let's push the war on terror. Let's push fear-mongering and aggression throughout the world. That's what this man has done. Make no mistake about it. And I do not see this as Trump being benevolent and saying, he really didn't do anything, he's a great guy. I don't see it. I see it another Trump establishment move where he's lockstep with the neocons on so many things. And that's why we have bloody Gina Haspel. That's why we have Mike Pompeo. That's why we have John Bolton. And that's why, Luke, we now have this pardon of Conrad Black. Folks, we're doing... What? You disagree? You got something else to say there?
Well, I mean, my last point that I want to make here and kind of reiterate what I said in the beginning, the man's free. The man's not in jail. There's a lot of innocent people sitting in jail for a lot less crimes. I just don't understand. Yeah. Again, I agree with your points on here. That's all I had to say. Let's finish it off here.
Yeah, shout out to Aaron and Melissa Dykes for the donation, by the way, guys. TruthStream Media does great work as well. And that's why independent media is so important, because TruthStream Media, that's one outlet. WeAreChange, that's one outlet. Conrad Black, 500 plus outlets. Steering committee member of Bilderberg. These are the facts, folks. We need your support. We're doing 4 videos a day across 2 different channels, News for a Change and WeAreChange. Make sure to ring that bell, share that stuff on social media, and subscribe. You got something else to say?
And check out our fundraiser on GoFundMe.
And hit that fundraiser. It's right behind me for a reason, guys. We need your help. We want to get out there. The longer it takes, the more expensive the airfare is going to be, the more expensive the hotel is going to be to book. And listen, we're on old gear. I'm not going to lie. People laugh at some of the stuff I have. And, I put that Nexium stuff up and they were upset with the audio. Guys, I'm doing it on a shoestring budget. I'm trying to compete with these big media outlets. I'm my own gopher. I'm my own interviewer. We're on the ground. You look at Luke's videos. I played late night, one of Luke's videos with Eric Schmidt. Chasing him down. He's got an entourage of security next to him. What does Luke have? He's got a little camera, not the media buzzing. So thank you guys so much for the support, and get out there and be the change you want to see in the world.